Hi, this is Kara from the Special Needs Mom podcast.
And this is Angela from Especially Organized, Sensible Solutions for Special Needs Moms.
We have this heart for special needs moms. And so we thought, you know what, let's combine forces. And we have come up with what we're calling the Purge Party. And you can pretty much guess what it is. It's a party where we're going to come together and we're going to purge or, in general, accomplish a goal, a small goal together. So we have set this for January 27th, starting at 8 o'clock for my Pacific Coast people.
Which means 11 o'clock for all of you on the East Coast. So this is an opportunity. If you have something on your to-do list that has just been stuck there and you are wanting to move it up on the list, you're wanting to tackle, maybe it's a space or an area of your home or a category in your home that has just needed a little time and attention. This is your opportunity for you to be online with us while you work and have access for us to help you answer your questions, help guide you, and just serve you for those 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you can tell like what we've designed is just this very high level of support for that project that you just haven't been able to tackle on your own. The thing that we are envisioning is that you get to leave this purge party feeling so accomplished because you did the thing. You started the year off getting that thing done that you were stuck on last year. And so it's a momentum builder, if you will. You can go ahead and sign up. We have a link ready for you. And we are offering this for $40 for the whole experience.
Absolutely. And we hope you'll join us. I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a great group of moms of special needs kids. So we all get each other. We all have an understanding of what it's like to have something on our to-do list, but just we haven't been able to tackle it yet. So I hope that you will join us. We're super excited to bring this to you, and we are thrilled to work with you.
All right. We'll see you all there. Hi, I'm Kara, life coach, wife, and mom to 4 incredible and unique children. It wasn't all that long ago that my son received a diagnosis that had my world come crashing down. I lacked the ability to see past the circumstances, which felt impossible, and the dreams I once had for my life and family felt destroyed. Fast forward past many years of surviving and not at all thriving, and you'll see a mom who trusts that she can handle anything that comes her way and has access to the power and confidence that once felt so lacking. I created the Special Needs Mom podcast to create connection and community with moms who find themselves feeling trapped and with no one who really understands. My intention is to spark the flare of possibility in your own life and rekindle your ability to dream. This isn't a podcast about your special needs child. This is a podcast about you. If you are a mom who feels anxious, alone, or stuck, then you are in the right place. Welcome. Hello and welcome to the Special Needs Mom podcast. Here we are, ladies. We're rounding the corner. We're going home right into the end of the year. And I'm going to start this episode with the personal update stories I've been doing. Firstly, I'd like to share with the community, for those of you that have been closely following us for the last year, I'm glad to report Levi has another clean scan. Well, clean's not the right word for it. That would indicate that we are tumor-free, in which we are not yet. However, the progression of radiation occurs to be doing what the doctors would expect it to be doing, which means one of the tumors is growing and one is shrinking. So we do this thing called watch and wait. So in another 3 months, we'll go through the cycle of going to get a scan, peeking under the hood, if you will, and I will try to stay calm in the meantime. And actually, that's kind of part of the story. So in the last couple of weeks, we had the scan, and then we had all the appointments around the scan, which is complex. I will not bore you with details. And then we had, the findings, appointments, and all of the others in between. So early last week, I was like, why does this week feel so intense? Like it just feels like I am literally juggling I mean, I'm a pretty good juggler, if you will. I'm actually really good at managing a lot of things. In my previous career as a project manager, I was able to do very well with that. However, there's certain things that come as consequences when you are strictly managing. You lose like your heart, your life, the things that really matter. And so I was just like, why does this week feel so intense? And then I paused for a second and I was like, oh, Levi has 6 appointments this week. And this is on top of like a very intense school week because, there's all the school parties. And then there's my kids have this thing called exhibition where they're exhibiting their work. I have 4 kids. Do the math. That's a lot of exhibiting. And so I was like, that is why this feels so out of control. And then to top it off, my daughter apparently fell at school on Wednesday, the day that Levi had 2 appointments, fell at school and knocked her 2 front teeth loose. And so I was like, okay, that's a bummer. And that's when I did have to call for reinforcements. I had to tap out and say, husband, we're going to need another driver here because I can't do emergency appointments plus 2 other ones that were already back to back to get to, of course, the school activities on time. Oh my gosh. Do you feel it? Do you feel this intensity? And the thing actually I wanted to share, and it's going to lead us into our conversation today, is I found myself kind of wanting to share the story, like not just here, but like I wanted to tell people, wow, this is what we've been going through. This is just insane. And kind of, I don't know, maybe to like prove my case a little bit. But ultimately, I think it is me wanting to be seen, me wanting to not have the experience of I'm so alone, nobody understands this, but really to actually share that with people. And so I share this story partly because I think you'll relate. And then partly I think it's funny to gawk at the insanity of this week. And it makes me feel less alone and it makes me feel seen. It's kind of a perk about being the host of this podcast. But I was thinking, I think about you guys all the time. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, it would be fun to have a contest of sorts where each of us write in your own story, how your week was just bonkers. And then I feel like that could be like, if it's a contest, it's like, okay, whose is worse than others? And I was like, that's not what we're going for. But the idea here is I thought it would be so amazing to actually have a mechanism, a way for everyone to say, here's my story. Be with me in this story. And so that's the part that I thought would be kind of cool. And I didn't figure out a way to do that. So we have not a contest, but yet I want just to pause for a second and invite you to acknowledge your own story. My guess is you heard my story and you're like, well, let me tell you this story, which I think is awesome because I think you do have your own story and it has its own uniquenesses and intricacies and the kinds of things that unless you see it with your own eyes, sometimes it's just hard to really believe. And so the invitation I have to you is just to pause and to look at your week, or maybe it's your month, and to look back and be like, how did I manage that? And to think about yourself and be like, holy moly, lady, you are one amazing rock star. And I'm so proud of you. So I just want to give you just a minute to take a look and to see the parts of your life that just feel nuts and to acknowledge yourself. And so that's kind of leaning into a very simple episode today. We're going to keep it very short. And for those of you who celebrate Christmas, and even those who don't, many of us partake in giving this season. And so we put endless energy, right? Thought, premeditation, and maybe even a little panic because you're like, did I do enough? And so we go and buy things and we do things and we really go to extraordinary efforts to do this. And it's a beautiful thing. It is beautiful to be both on both sides, right? So actually my husband received this amazing gift from my brother, who apparently is like Mr. Santa Claus. And it was just like so fun to know that my husband was going to get this thing that he had been dreaming of and to watch him get it. Like it was seriously like he was 12 again. It was maybe like more like 10. It was so cute. And for me to like just be so excited about that. So that receiving piece is awesome. But also, like when you are really excited about giving something to somebody that you think they're going to be excited about, like that feels amazing. So there's so much beauty in this exchange that we have in this season. And there's a lot of wonkiness too. So we'll let that just sit dormant for right now. But here's the thing that I want to invite us to ponder today. And it's the question that kind of sounds obvious, but I think many of us, it doesn't occur to us. And the question is, what gift will you give yourself this season? And so you might immediately think, oh my gosh, yeah, I am going to buy myself that new, I don't know what that would be for you. Maybe it's a new pair of AirPods. Maybe it's a shirt. Maybe it's something very tangible that you're like, I've been wanting that thing and I'm not sure if anyone else is going to get it for me. Or maybe it's something that no one would occur to get, like a fancy pen that just brings you a little bit of joy. I don't know what this would be for you. The idea, though, is if it's a tangible thing, maybe it's something that just is an expression of your love to yourself. Or maybe it's something that will make your life easier or just bring a little spark of joy. And so maybe there is that thing that only you know that you want, that you will actually go to the extent and the effort of getting for yourself. Or maybe it's intangible. Maybe it's more like the gift of time off, of looking and saying, what do I want most right now? Oh my gosh, I want a break. I want to just sit on the couch and not have anything to do. Or maybe it's a well-written love note to yourself, where you take the time to talk about the best and most loving parts of yourself. And let those other parts just sit over there on the shelf. We don't have to worry about the parts where you want to grow and where you're working on and, the things that we do think about. This is a time just to give yourself the gift of being you. And so those intangibles are going to obviously be very unique to each of us. But don't discount the power in either of these things, the tangible or the intangible. Maybe the gift for you is letting go of something you've been holding on to. And again, that for you might be letting go of something like a hope or a dream for your child that is not going to be. Or maybe it's just letting go of having a clean house. Maybe it's letting go of how your husband is showing up during this season. And what's interesting is the gift that would be to you is life-changing. Take just a moment. If you're in a safe place to do so, shut your eyes. And I want you just to listen to yourself. For me, it's so helpful to shut my eyes, just to kind of listen to my entire being. If you're a Christian, you might ask the Holy Spirit to speak to you, to make clear what is not clear. If you listen to yourself, you'll hear something. And then the invitation is to lean into that nudge. Follow your inclination and listen to yourself, which I think is the biggest gift of all. So if you did this, what did you see? What did you sense? Will you go give yourself that gift? I love you so much. I'm thinking of you often, and I'm constantly looking and listening for how I can support this community, myself included. So basically, this whole journey is me figuring out the supports that I need and bringing them to everybody else. And so when I talk about something a lot, it's going to be your clue that it's an area that I really struggle in and I'm needing a lot of support in. I'm really excited for this next year. And I'm living in faith that I'm going to be fully available to do that. What's coming up a lot for me this season is, when's the other shoe going to drop, right? When's the rug going to get taken out from under me again? And so I constantly have to battle that fear and probably trauma. And yet I'm planning, I'm dreaming, I'm creating. And so next year, I want you to know that you can look forward to new types of guests, new types of episodes, and really a deepening of the community around this podcast. I will ask one thing of you right now that is on my mind is, If you would give me the gift of taking a quick minute to rate and or review this podcast, if you haven't done so already, that would mean the world to me. And with that, that's the conclusion of this episode and the conclusion of new episodes this year, as I'm taking next week off and I have a previous episode all queued up for you that was one of the most loved episodes from the last 2 years. And so I wanted to bring it up so that for those of you that are new around here, you don't miss it. And so I hope you enjoy that. It's a really thought-provoking, powerful episode. And I will see you all in the new year. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. One more thing before we officially wrap up this show. Sometimes when I'm listening to podcasts, I have the experience of wanting more. I'm listening at the very end thinking, I sure wish that episode didn't end. I invite you, if you feel in any way the same way, I invite you to the Special Needs Mom podcast community, which is a free group that I host on Facebook, where we as a community of fellow moms who listen to this podcast and are experiencing life in similar shoes, get to talk to one another, get to share stories, get to actually interact. I hope you'll consider joining. See you over there.